Can we turn off all phones, please? David.
Mike, David Moore, Dallas Morning News. How would you characterize your visit individually and the organization's visit with Odell Beckham?
I thought the visit went very well. I know personally, extremely impressed with Odell. Enjoyed our time together. Liked his vibe, and just enjoyed everything about, our talk. We didn't talk a whole lot about football. We talked more about life and family. So I think for the most part, I thought it was a very, very positive, productive visit.
And where do things stand now as far as further interest in Odell going forward?
I really don't have an update. I don't know if you notice we have a game. It's on Sunday. So,
this week?
Yeah, this for sure. But, we play Houston Texans. But, yeah, just because, getting the morning and into the game plan, I haven't spoken to, Steve, Jerry, or Will yet. So I do not have an update.
Todd Archer with ESPN. Is Odell ready to play? Do you think he's close to being able to get back on the field?
Well, I think just like anything, because the other part of it, going through it yesterday, I think we all recognize this is it's a very unique situation. I've never been part of this type of situation in December, so there's a lot of variables. As far as the medical, obviously there's always a financial component and a coaching component. So you obviously know where my conversation was focused on. So, as far as the evaluation or anything, in the medical realm, I don't ever speak on that. So,
Let's go forward, John Telegram. Was an offer made?
I not only don't speak on the medical, I don't speak on the financial. That's the business component of our business, and I could not tell you specifically how far those conversations went.
At this point, though, do you still want him on the Cowboys this year?
Oh, I think the biggest thing is to get through those those questions. Exactly where he is, and I just think it's like anything. It's the rehab process. We talk about this all the time. The return to play. So I could not tell you specifically where he is.
You personally, though, have you seen enough to say?
Well, who do you think hell's sitting up here? Me personally.
You said you couldn't tell me where he is. Tell me, where are you in your process? You're mentally. Do you want him on this team right now?
Can I just go with the same answer that I just gave you?
All right, thank you.
Yeah. Ping pong. Is that what they call it?
Calvin.
What's that?
Piggyback.
Anybody.
Great follow-up, Calvin. Clarence. Calvin.
Anybody?
I got one. Calvin Watkins,
Thank you, Calvin.
cornerback. I think you signed someone for practice squad. Where do you stand in that position right now?
Yeah, definitely. Alexander, actually I'm very familiar with him in Minnesota, so I think he's, excellent addition. Had a good workout yesterday. Really, we'll see how he works today. So obviously, him and Sheffield will be a part of our thought process moving forward.
Is Joseph still kind of like the lead in that position there?
Yeah, definitely. I think the way we finish the game is a way that we'll continue to work and look at the other combination. Nashawn Wright's part of this too, and so we're not giving away the starting lineup and all the defensive personnel groups we're going to line in, but I think it's obvious as you go through our depth chart.
Brad
Sham, Cowboys Radio. So we haven't asked you a lot about Nashawn because he's been inactive a lot. How would you describe his progress and his pluses and minuses right now?
Nashawn is really just in a situation where, there hasn't been a week that he could not have been up and contributed. I thought he did an excellent job establishing himself last year as a rookie, particularly on special teams. So, if you see the special teams work, particularly on Wednesdays and Thursdays, he's, obviously C.J. Goodwin and Kelvin Joseph were as fine as gunners that I've seen on a team. When you line up and both your gunners are getting double, that speaks volumes. And I think Nashawn is definitely in that category. Just the way he competes against both those guys. So I think he'll definitely, he had some playing time, just a little bit, earlier, but obviously played a lot last year. So he'll definitely contribute immediately on special teams.
Dave.
A little more on Nashon. He appeared, like I say, he established himself last year. He appeared to have some pretty good practices in camp, and then had some issues in the games themselves. Was that did he take a hit to his confidence there that you kind of had to kind of rebuild since then?
Well, you know, I think just like anything, and in particular the way we play too. You know, he has excellent length. I mean, he has exceptional ball skills. I mean, you can see that going back to his Oregon State days. You know, obviously a former receiver. All those things were so attractive, but he's just young. I mean, he's still young. I mean, I think if you see the development in him physically in the weight room and so forth, I mean, he was clearly one of the players that took a huge jump, you know, from last year to this year, and I think he has a whole nother, you know, jump, you know, as far as 8 to 10, you know, pounds of lean muscle mass. So he has that frame to do that. So, you know, I look for him just to continue. You know, I think he's a young ascending player.
And Joseph as well, just in what ways has he improved at the corner position? I know you talked about special teams before, but specifically corner, where has he gotten better?
Yeah, I think it's like anything. I mean, you know, he's a second-year player, so I mean, you know, he's definitely someone that is getting better with opportunities. And, you know, I think he's done a lot of good things on special teams. You know, I mean, the penalties has been his challenge, but it's his are from an over-aggressive play style. So I mean, you know, that's if we're going to err on the side of play style, we definitely want to be on that side of it. So I definitely think Kelvin is in that category. He's going to get tested just like he did when he went in last week. So and you know, we're cognizant of it, but you know, he's a young player that has a lot of growth in front of him.
Mike Jory, Epstein, Yahoo Sports. Lovie Smith mentioned today that Davis Mills will be starting for them at quarterback. Is that something y'all expected the last couple days, and how does that influence game planning?
Prepared for it both ways. So just, you know, going back through the video, I understand it, and I think he's obviously someone that we really like coming out of Stanford, and you know, he's got good tape. He has good tape, but you know, there's a lot of good things, and you know, they're a traditional West Coast offense with Pep Hamilton there, and you see the multiple personnel groups, you know, every play, and just you know, what you're trying to get done with that, and just having history in that offense, and you know, and it's clearly, in my view, it's the most quarterback-friendly offense, you know, in this league. So, and you know, we'll definitely be challenged there.
And one more, just given all the talk about Odell, your current receiver group, where do you feel like they've made the biggest strides from the first week of the season until now, and especially now that Dak's been there more?
Well, I just think if you look at just the way we're playing now, I mean, I think, you know, we had the injury to Tyron. You know, we had some things, you know, happen early. You know, obviously, Michael Gallup was not part of the early season. So, what I like about our offense is, you know, I thought we did a really good job of playing to the basics, you know, of how we wanted to play. But now we're really, you know, frankly, just the last 3 or 4 weeks, we've really been getting into the menu of concepts that we've, you know, practice, you know, in training camp. We know it gives me a lot of pause, you know, a lot of, you know, confidence, and it's delightful as a head coach when you sit in there and, you know, through the run game install and the pass game install, and you hear training camp rules, you know, just so, and when you're into your training camp rules and concepts this late into a season, you know, that speaks to a good off season, and you're definitely playing to your players' strengths. I mean, we're not trying to recreate the wheel here. We're not a game plan by week, high volume, you know, you're drawing them up, but we're very proactive adjustment focus. So, you know, we're conceptual thinkers, conceptual trainers, and then with that we make the tweaks and adjustments on matchups and so forth on a weekly basis. So, and I think that serves us well, and I think you're seeing the byproduct of that over the last month.
Babe.
Babe Loftberg, Cowboys Radio. Assuming Tyron Smith will practice today?
Correct, yes. Tyron.
My question for
Has that haven't been put out yet? No?
Well,
Ted's fixing his phone, I guess. I don't know.
he was on the phone.
You gonna put that out?
You're kind of in the dog days here, and have you found you get a veteran guy back like that? I know Tyron's not a big talker or anything, but kind of gives a little juice to the practice, longest tenured guy here and all that.
No, absolutely. I mean, anytime Tyron's on the field, it's a good day for Dallas Cowboys. I mean, let's call it what it is. So, you know, and I think just like anything, when you watch these players go through injury rehab, it's so personal. It's such a long process, you know, coming back, and you know, I just give him and and the staffs, so much credit. You see them in there every morning. So it's exciting on the personal level because you know what they've gone through to get back out there. So because he's, like I said, he's here every day. I mean, he's been here 4 or 5 days a week, through the whole process. So he's definitely ready to go, and it'll be great to have him back out there.
Clarence Hill, Star Telegram. I know you like point spreads so much. You're 17-point favorite, the biggest favorite in the league this year.
It's amazing how things change.
What do you tell your team? I know you're giving them the week off. Not the week off, but no padded practice this week. What do you tell your team their focus for this game?
Well, I mean, I'm just disgusted that we're not in pads this week. So it's no. I think this is part of the. This is all part of the. The training outlook of an NFL season. So I mean, learning how to practice and stay competitive and continue to grow within is. I mean, it's a huge part of an NFL season, especially when you get into November, December. So I mean, we're all going through it. So I mean, it's not like this is just specific to us, but we actually talked about in the team meeting. We need to practice the right way when. Like our Wednesday practices won't change much from last week, but tomorrow, your ability to get the quantity of team periods and work and hit the things that you always hit in pads tomorrow is important. So there's definitely a safety component because you don't want anybody on the ground and those types of things, and so it is a slight adjustment that you have to make as a football team.
I know you don't like being underdogs. You're nobody's underdog, but what about being overdogs? Any thoughts about it?
Oh, man, just talked a lot of trash about the media today in the team meeting. Just, don't listen to them and all those good things and don't take the cheese. And so, yeah, I mean, this is a good place to, it's definitely, it shows things are very, very productive with your football team when you have to address this type of deal. But, like I told the team today, I don't know if there's a coach, any NFL coordinator or head coach that I've gone against more than Lovie Smith, and I have a lot of respect for how his teams play, how his defenses have played over the last couple of decades. So I think we just got to really stay in tune with on the things that we need to do to win the game, and that's really what we're all about. We get to everything that's going on around us, the time of year, so. That's always a challenge. Our players are human. The holidays are part of their everyday lives too, and their families' lives. And so, I feel like we do a very good job of talking about it and so forth. It's really these are all, really things that spin off from the winter schedule conversation we had last week, and that's why the built-in time for the players is important. The rest recover, all those things, but. End of the day, we got a full 7-day preparation for the Texans, and I'm very confident we will max it out, and then we got to get up there Sunday and go get it. So because at the end of the day, it's the National Football League, and we all recognize that it's so damn hard to win a game in this league, regardless of the point spread, and you just can never lose sight of that.
Mike, what did Washington show you in practice last week, and what do you anticipate from him this week?
I think clearly, he's physically ready. I thought I was excuse me, his numbers were good, conditioning-wise and so forth. So we'll give James a lot more today.
And then with Alexander, was it important to find a guy with inside experience?
Yeah, definitely.
Because AB was the guy who you could move inside if you needed.
Yeah, absolutely. That was a big part of the conversation.
Michael Gilpin, Dallas Morning News. What stood out about Donovan Wilson?
I mean, you talk about a magnet for the football, loves contact. His intensity. I mean, he's as good as a ball hawker. Particularly, extractor that I've been around. The way he separates, offensive perimeter players away from the football. So, and he's the same guy every day, and that's something I'm just a huge fan of. It's something I always look for. I think it's important in your ability to grow not only as a player but as a defense. As a football team, and he brings that energy every single day.
Thursday's practice with it not being in pads, how exactly does the script change? Like, imagine no 9-on-7, or what does that look like?
I'm just curious. Why do you ask?
I think it's interesting.
I think it's an interesting question. we're gonna have team run on Thursday in shells. So and I think it goes back to the question earlier. We just gotta, we gotta practice smarter. Fit it up. Obviously, it's different than being in full pads.
Meg.
Mike, you already talked about stress points for players and all, but for the coaching staff, you got Indy, anything you had on Indy, you didn't have to throw out, but they had a new coordinator mid-season. Now you got, obviously, Houston, a team you're unfamiliar with, and Jacksonville. Does that put a little added stress on the coaching staff trying to, I don't want to say play catch-up, but work for these game plans?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is, especially now more than ever, you just got, not just to go coach speak here, but you got to trust your process. I think you just got to really stay in line with the basics. Gus Bradley, Lovie Smith, Tony Dunn. There's families of defense, and we're always looking for carryover. And then it's just like anything, you just stay true to the basics. They're going to throw fastballs, they're going to throw curveballs, they're going to have a changeup. So that's where we all are in this league at this time. So. I just think what I want to talk about when I get in front of the team, I want to talk about fundamentals. I want to talk about the Cowboys 6. I want to talk about, ball security. The one negative that come out of the game, this past week, our ball protection was poor. It was as poor as it's been all year. So, and just knowing Lovey's history of takeaways, I guarantee it. I guarantee when they're in their team meeting today, they were talking about taking the ball away. We had the ball on the ground 6 times last game. That's not a winning performance. So that's what we're focused on this time of year. We just got to really stay on top of the fundamentals and just keep playing the right way. Our play style's been good, and can we take that to a next level? Our scoring offense is in the top 5 now. Our scoring points given up on defense are in top 5. Actually, both are ranked number 3. So that's complementary football if you're looking for statistics and analytics. As far as indicators that I look at. So I just want to keep building on that, and because if we're playing to that strength and to that balance, it gives us the best opportunity to win each and every week.
All righty.
Good. All right. Thank you.
Thank you.